College Football 25 officially launched last Friday, and there were so many people playing this. Millions of people bought the game and were playing it over the weekend. Before even the weekend, they said 2.2 million people played the early access, which means if you do the math, $30 extra to get the early access times 2.2 million. That is literally $60 million, which means basically just from early access, I think EA already made their money back. The game is super fun. I'm having a blast. I love seeing the community come together around this game. But with that being said, this game is definitely not perfect. There are issues, there are bugs that need to be patched. And I'm honestly surprised some of these things haven't already been fixed by EA. But EA did break the silence. They tweeted a link to one of their forum pages, and it talks about what they are currently working on. So the things we're about to talk about are going to be in the first big update for College Football 25. So let's go ahead and get into it. So like I said, this is coming from an EA community manager within their forums, and he said, "This week we're here to let you know that our team is hard at work preparing updates and content for post-launch to ensure delivery of the most authentic college football experience ever." So that's great to hear. I'm excited and glad that they are working on updates for this video game. Hopefully they start coming out very, very soon, because like I said, there's definitely some issues that need to be patched. So the first thing they talk about are the rosters and the likeness of the players. It says, "As mentioned in the campus huddle, there are slight inaccuracies with the roster and likenesses that our team is looking to update as soon as possible as we work through summer roster movement that is natural to college football." And it says in the next sentence that you can go ahead and hop in Dynasty mode and play, but if you want to play with the most up-to-date experience, the most up-to-date rosters, then you can expect an update around the time college football starts in real life. I've seen several different people point out some issues with their team's roster, such as numbers or names or just anything that has to do with the likeness of the players not being correct. And it sounds like they are aware of this. They're just waiting till rosters are finalized right before the season starts to put out an update, because there's no point in putting out one now if it's going to change again in a couple weeks or so. And then the last little part of this says, "One more question we want to answer. Yes, ratings updates for rosters will happen as we move throughout the college football season, so stay tuned." I know some people were getting worried if they were in fact going to update rosters throughout the college football season, because obviously that would make a huge difference if a guy starts balling out and they bump up his rating, or a guy is actually not nearly as good as they thought he was going to be and they bump down his rating, or if there's injuries, whatever it is, they will be updating the rosters, thankfully, throughout the real life college football season. Okay, so here are the specific issues they talked about in this forum post. They talk about the audio. It says incorrect commentary when playing at the first game of the season in Dynasty at Utah. And it also says Florida State's War Chant and Tennessee's Rocky Top are not audible when playing only on Xbox Series S. So if you're a fan of any of those teams, you may have noticed those issues, but I don't think it's just those teams. There's going to be other audio updates throughout these patches. I've heard the commentator several times call one of my players a freshman, like my freshman quarterback, even though he's not actually a freshman. Like I was playing with Alabama and I was using Jalen Milroe. They were calling him a freshman. Obviously, he's not a freshman. I'm hoping little things like that get fixed as well, because it definitely takes you out of the immersion when they're saying things that are just completely not true or incorrect. They also noted there's some issues with logos. So it says the following teams/conferences have incorrect logos: Stanford, UMass, Western Michigan, Conference USA, the Sun Belt. So you can see the list there. It says UTEP and Wyoming display incorrect athletic branding on their equipment in Dynasty, so they'll fix that as well. And then lastly, visual issue with conference patches when changing a small subset of teams' conference in Dynasty. So if you do custom conferences on a few of the teams, it was messing up the conference patch on their jersey, so they are going to fix that as well. So happy these things are being addressed, but now let's get into some of the bigger things. Let's talk about Dynasty mode. So this is probably the biggest thing they are going to address, the Super Sim logic. The team is looking into tuning of the Super Sim logic, including FCS schools upsetting too many Power 5 schools. Note, as we continue internal testing on the tuning of Super Sim logic, top 25 polls and the college football playoff seedings will also see an improvement. So this is fantastic news. Probably the biggest issue right now with Dynasty mode is the sim logic. There are so many group of 5 teams and even FCS schools, like it said, upsetting Power 5 teams that it should not happen that frequently. Yes, we want to see some upsets, but not every single week. I've had several people on Instagram send me pictures of like MTSU winning the national championship or Charlotte winning the national championship, and it's like, okay, that's cool if it happens like once out of every, 500 dynasties, But if it's happening that frequently, it's definitely an issue. And again, similar to some of these other issues, it takes you out of the immersion. And it says that the tuning with the Super Sim logic will hopefully also help the top 25 polls as well as the college football playoff seedings, which is another issue. The polls are all wonky throughout the year. It makes no sense. You'll see 7-5 Bama in the playoff over a different team that should be more deserving. So it sounds like that will get fixed as well. And then hopefully this means it'll also get fixed in like Road to Glory. My experience so far with Road to Glory, which I might have a whole separate video talking about Road to Glory because I think some of my fears about that mode came true, but that's a different story for a different time. Part of the issue with Road to Glory right now, when you sim, when you're not on the field, barely any time comes off of the game clock. The opposing team will drive like the length of the field and it only takes like 45 seconds. So it's making these games extremely long because when the CPU has the ball, basically no time comes off the clock. So hopefully that gets addressed as well. I know some people were also having issues when they did do Super Sim, their game would freeze completely. So they are addressing this as well. It's going to be fixed, but right now the workaround is wait a couple seconds in between simulating the individual plays before exiting Super Sim. So if you just wait a couple seconds before you back out of Super Sim, hopefully it will not freeze on you. Next issue when adding additional teams to the Pac-12 conference when using custom conferences does not generate a new conference schedule as intended. So if you add a new team to the Pac-12, some of these teams are not receiving a new conference schedule as they should be, obviously, since they're now in the Pac-12, so they're going to fix that as well. Issue with modified conference rules not saving. I saw a lot of people complaining about this one as well, so it does have a workaround for you. You need to re-enter the conference rule screen and see if the settings did in fact save. If they didn't, you'll just keep trying until it does save, but they're going to fix this as well. I know some people were getting annoyed with this one, so hopefully they'll fix this very quickly, but if you are using custom conference rules, just ensure it's saved before you advance. This one right here, I experienced a ton. It says when a recruit reaches their top 5 stage, it will not display the recruit is ready for visit despite meeting the requirements. So again, I saw this one all the time. A player would get into his top 5 and it wouldn't let me schedule a visit with him, even though I should be able to. So they're going to address that as well, thankfully. That will make recruiting a lot better and smoother. And speaking of recruiting, it says the team has planned additional tuning to recruiting logic. So that'll be good in general. I think recruiting for the most part is one of the best things about this game. There's a few little bugs if they fix, I think it'll be perfect. So just them tuning it a little bit, like they said, I think will be great. Here are the last 3 things for Dynasty mode. It says issue with the practice tile not initially appearing in the team tab. I haven't seen this one myself, but if you have seen this, they are going to fix it. Another issue says current maximum cap of 20 created coaches instead of the intended 32 created coaches. And it actually says in the note below it that they are targeting Tuesday for a fix for this. So hopefully a lot of these things are going to be fixed on Tuesday if we get a big update. But this one specifically, on Tuesday, they're targeting a fix to allow you to use 32 coaches instead of 20. Lastly, issue with some players' jersey numbers and/or overalls changing when editing certain players' gear. I haven't seen this one either, but apparently when some people were editing the players' gear, it was also changing their numbers or overalls, which obviously is not supposed to be happening, so that's going to get fixed. Another massive one right here, it says a high priority for the team right now is the issue of some players being unable to load into previously established online dynasties. I've had so many people DM me about this one on Instagram. I unfortunately could not help them, but they are fixing this. This one's a high priority, so I'm assuming this one is going to be updated very quickly. I've had some people tell me it's already fixed, so that might be the case. But if it's not fixed yet, I assume it'll come with that Tuesday update that they just talked about. And then thankfully, a team builder update is coming out because, oh my goodness, right now the website does not work well at all. It says when using team builder, team, and play now, cleats are defaulted to Adidas, regardless of selected brand apparel. So this will get fixed, but the second one here is the bigger issue, at least for me personally. Second custom image layer not appearing on the field. So it was allowing you to put one custom image on the field, but then when you try to put a second one, it just wouldn't show up, even though it showed it in the layers on the left side of the screen. So this is getting fixed, and hopefully the Team Builder website in general just starts working better, because like I said, it's pretty bad. It does say in the workaround that if you add a second layer, select a generic image, and then reselect your custom image, and then hopefully it'll show up on the field. But I actually did try that, and it didn't work for me, so maybe you need to try it a couple times, or maybe I was just unlucky. but that is a workaround, they said. That is all the specific things they mentioned in this forum post. It also said at the end that the majority of the list would require an update to your console. So when you boot up the game, it's going to force you to update the game, which is a good thing. The next time I see my game updating, I'm going to be very happy. Hopefully a lot of these things will be fixed. But it says to check out the Campus Huddle, which is the website where they give all the updates about College Football 25. It says to check out the Campus Huddle when the next title update comes out. So when a big update comes out, they're going to put it on there and probably give us all the details. I'll definitely make videos about these big updates, about what they changed and what is going to be different moving forward. So definitely stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching this video. Follow me on Instagram at BringNCAA Back. I post everything there first. I posted this on there several hours ago. Would have gotten this video out earlier, but I was at work, unfortunately. Follow me on Twitter as well at TubbyLight, and then subscribe here for more videos just like this one.